kind of recording. Hello, and welcome to the Painter Bread Quarterly Slush Pile. We're so excited to be here today and so excited that you're listening. Our editorial process is about to become transparent to you as we discuss submissions from our very own slush pile and share our conversation with you. So, who is the we? I'll start with me, Kathleen Volk-Miller, here in the studio at Drexel University in Philadelphia. And I'm happy to say that sharing the table with me is Addison Davis.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello, Addison.
How you doing?
Hi.
I have been up for about 5 hours now.
Wow, what happened?
I was an idiot and had a cup of coffee at like 9 o'clock last night.
And we even saw each other. You were drinking beer at 7, dude.
I had to stay up to finish out The Watchmen that I did not see on Sunday.
Well, yeah, that's important. I get it.
Yeah.
Okay.
How was it worth it? Are you like?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Are you like, I'm tired, but I accomplished something real?
I did make use of my time this morning and went for a run. That was
very nice.
tough because I haven't been since before Thanksgiving.
You can breathe in that cold air. Cold air doesn't hurt you.
I go to the Drexel gym.
Oh, good for you.
Good deal for alumni.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice. That's nice. And Jason, I'm going to tell on you. I know for a fact that Jason's in his jammies.
I am. I'm in my jammies. We were up really late last night, and I was like, I don't know how many. I was in bed and I was like, is there a podcast? I have to go find out. And then there was a podcast, so I'm here. But yeah, no, I was up really late last night. It was the open mic at KGB, so I was out really late anyway. And it was just like, it was great.
I know you were up really late because they're like noon my time. I'm getting emails from you. I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah.
That's funny. Who was at KGB last night?
Well, it was the open mic. So I co-host Monday Nights at KGP, which is a 22-year-old series that David Lehman and Star Black started. But no one ever wants to read the Monday after Thanksgiving or the Monday after AWP. So we do an open mic, and then whoever wins the open mic gets to attach themselves to one of the readings in the next season. But we had great people. Anthony Capo was there, and Mark Jepson was there, and Leslie Contreras-Schwartz was there. And like we actually had like some really amazing group of people who were awesome. It was really fun.
We're big fans of Mara Jepson's work, so I'm glad to hear she was there. That's great.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And when I say we, I mean PBQ. We've been publishing her for years. Yay, Mara Jepson.
Why don't you also say who we is, Mare? We are. Who we are, who we is.
So we is Marion talking into a big Yeti microphone sitting in her living room in Abu Dhabi. Mm-hmm. And it's National Day weekend here in Abu Dhabi. So all the buildings are lit up and sparkling. And the Emiratis love a laser light show, which is really very cool to see from afar, except for the laser lights are set up to shoot directly into our apartment on the 26th floor. And we don't have curtains, so I feel like a fucking cat chasing a laser beam, or like I'm having seizures.
You don't have curtains?
No, not yet. We'll get there. We'll get there.
But like, does the sun just wake you up? Like you can never sleep when it's sunny?
It's beautiful, Jason. The sun comes up and I watch it when it crosses the horizon. I mean, it's just a spectacular view. And I'm high enough that I'm hoping, nobody on the street can see my naked ass in the morning. So, inshallah.
What time does the sun rise?
Are you going to check on the phone and tell me whether I'm lying to you or not?
No, I promise I won't.
Yeah, we're going to believe you.
Just when you talk about the weather, I do. When you pretend it's not 118.
I've been getting up at 6:30 and then the sun is up by 7, right? And so or maybe a little after 7, it's up. But
that's funny because that's about what time we are. Right now we're just after 7.
Yeah, I think we're right on the same sort of like, what is that? Latitude, longitude, latitude.
Circadian rhythm. I'm not on the same circadian rhythm as you. I know that much. This woman, when we travel together, she opens the blinds. She opens the hotel dark drapery.
Right? And then I yell at you with like blinking lights in the room, like, turn off.
But I do like when you make me coffee and read me poetry. Sometimes she wakes me up gently in that manner.
Yeah, but mostly I'm just a cheerful maniac, which is a terrible segue to Samantha. Hey, Sam, where are you?
I am in Dubai right now and enjoying the last day of our holiday. And I'm excited to talk about poetry.
Yay!
Oh, well, that's a great segue to the poems. Yay! We have three poems today, all written by James Pollock, and we are so grateful that he is allowing us to share them here with you right now. Who's gonna read? I'll read.
Yay!
Ceiling fan. Okay, so this is James Pollock, Ceiling fan. Seen from below, a white 5-petal flower. In fact, an artist whose medium is air, who combs it with these pale palette knives hour on hour, stirring the room and taking care to keep this slow whirlpool in circulation. It gives you the chills like an erotic spouse. If you increase the speed of its rotation, it starts to imagine it could lift the house.
Nice. Well read. I love the study of the ceiling fan, right? Just the slow contemplation of this device.
Yeah.
Is a delight.
Wait, the palette knives was such a nice, like, it was like, oh, yeah. The ceiling fan petals look like, I love all of the ways in which it sort of estranges the ceiling fan and you see it for the first time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it's an artist and an erotic spouse.
Well, I did have a moment with erotic spouse. I was like, well, spouse, like... Is there an anti-erotic spouse or like? I mean,
I'm sure there's lots of non-erotic spouses.
I don't know. Like, did anyone else have like a pause on like the marriage of erotic and spouse?
Totally, I 100% did. But I actually loved it, right? Because it's sort of like this taken for granted device that's actually really fucking beautiful, right? If you look carefully at it, but you just don't, right?
Right.
And so I think that juxtaposition kind of is a surprise in a good way, right?
Well, what you were missing in the studio is people in here who may or may not have had non-erotic spouses.
Or may or may not have been non-erotic spouse.
All I'm saying, we should do this on video for sure. And then the ceiling fan gets personified and even like transmogrified to some kind of super powered thing that can lift the house.
That I thought was beautiful.
Kathy,
it starts to imagine it could lift the house.
Yeah. I'm reminded, Kathy, of your gym. Don't you have a gym that you go to with big ass fans?
That is the brand name of the fan. Yes, indeed. Big ass fans.
Well,
That's actually what they're called?
That is literally the brand name. Yes, big ass.
You're allowed to copyright big ass?
I guess so. They did. They're very, very big. It's a chain. It's a chain called The Edge. There are lots of places. The Edge Fitness uses big ass fans. And they're, imagine a gym. Like, they're
right.
Huge.
Sponsor us, please.
They're huge and they work wonderfully, and I bet they could lift the gym.
Whenever I'm working out underneath a big ass fan, I feel so much more energized and cooler. Like it really enhances my workouts. I can lift more.
I thought there was going to be an
sponsor us.
Really good.
Please sponsor us. But no, and that's actually my favorite line. I love it starts to imagine it could lift the house. I mean, the rhythm is gorgeous. It's totally on point. And then just like the fan kind of like having this daydream about being a helicopter.
Right.
Everybody has their dreams, even the fan.
I hate to break it to the ceiling fan, but without a rotor, it's just going to spin uncontrollably. Like you'll just counter spin. It would be a total disaster. It wouldn't work.
Oh,
like a kind of like a spouse, right? Like I understand that.
I snarfed a little coffee there.
Yeah. The kind of the it in the last two lines are referring to the ceiling fan, but I also like thinking of that it as applied to the spouse or the spousal situation between the two people. And kind of like, you know, if you start paying attention, maybe if you do pay attention all the time to the mundane and the eroticness of the mundane, I mean, you could literally lift the house or lift the domestic part of you. Like you can be transported in a way that actually like might not be productive for every day. So there's this like necessariness too for you to like appreciate your spouse and the ceiling fan in this like special way, but also like not always to be that way.
Yeah, I love that. And I love especially too, look at it, like the first line, seen from below, right? Which, you know, puts you on your back. And if you're thinking about like erotic spouses in spousal positions, there's a kind of funny situation there. I don't know that that's in the gist of the poem though. Hey, listen, Jason, since you're our like form guy, right? Can you say a little bit about the form here? I mean, it's a, you know, 2 4-line stanzas. It's got a lovely rhyme scheme. Is this a thing? Is this like does it have a name or is it?
I think it's a ballad stanza. A-B.
Yeah.
And I think it's basic. It's a really nice iambic pentameter, which always kind of has variation. So even though the beginning seen is a stressed syllable, right? Seen from below, a white 5-petal flower. Oh no, I guess it's actually trochaic there. In fact, an artist whose medium is air. And then it moves back to, that's interesting. Yeah. Because I was actually wondering about that because some people are bothered by this terminology, but the masculine and feminine rhymes shouldn't quite work, but they do. So like a feminine rhyme is when a feminine rhyme is when the penultimate syllables are stressed. So like flower and power, or sower and mower. And usually you're not supposed to have, and so a masculine rhyme would be like air and care, where it's just the last syllable is stressed. But something like flower and hour works really well. Oh, because it's a diphthong. That's why it works. And circulation and rotation and spousal notes. Okay, so I thought there was something that I was missing, but no, it's a ballad stanza in a roughly iambic line, but the really critical piece is that the usually when you hear the sort of the impact of rhyme, it's actually the impact of the meter. It's actually the rhythm kind of delivering you to the expected moment rather than the kind of rhyme itself kind of making that chime.
Oh, that's cool.
But the meter is done really well, and so like erotic spouse is necessary because you need that. You need the unstressed syllables because erotic spouse lift the house. Like that's how you kind of get to those really nice kind of closures. Although, so I'm still not on board with the word erotic, the meaning of the word erotic, but I will say that the rhythm is quite nice.
I keep thinking about what a great poem this will be to teach, because you could say, this is how you write about something that you see every day, like make a poem out of a ceiling fan, right? And this is how you rhyme without being rhymey.
Right. I guess that's it too. Like it sneaks up on you that it's that carefully organized and crafted. And then at the end, when you start to see the formality of it, it's like, oh yeah, he's been doing that since the first syllable.
It was only when we got to house that I realized it was rhyming.
Yeah. The very last word.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
But also look at the way he cuts the line break at hour on hour. Because there's this very strong enjambment in the third line that prevents you from falling into, because if it were all end stopped, then you would have that kind of sense of sing song.
Right.
Right. Ba-dum-ba-dum-ba-dum, ba-dum-ba-dum-ba-dum, ba-dum-ba-dum-ba-dum,
Oh, yeah.
But by cutting it at hour, right, who comes it with these pale palette knives hour on hour, where you kind of get this slight pause, but it really kind of drives forward through that. I think that's part of where it's able to kind of be, that's where it's doing something like really, really interesting and kind of working back against the syntax in a way that's really smart, or working the rhythm against the syntax in a way that doesn't become sing-song.
Mm-hmm. So this slushies is the sound of us all looking back at the poem now and reciting it in our heads.
I think we're ready to vote. I move we
Okay.
vote. I vote we vote.
I vote.
I'm a thumbs up on voting.
We've been trying to use Robert's Rules of Order in my department, and like we get into these like weird conversations where it's like, wait, do we have to move on voting and then vote on the motion to vote on the vote? So we're like, everyone's confused now. No one knows what's happening anymore.
All right. Well, let's flip some thumbs then and make it easy. Let's just do it. You ready? 1, 2, 3, vote. Joe's count up the tags, and it's unanimous. Woohoo!
Hey,
Ceiling fan. Do you guys remember Robert Pinsky's First Things to Hand? When that was like the big thing that everyone was reading?
No.
And it was just like Robert Pinsky had this chapbook in, I guess, the very late 90s, and it was called First Things to Hand, and it was about things on his desk. And I just remember like the third or fourth poem was like My Other Hand, and it was great. It was like, you know, this moment of like sort of finding the magic in the quotidian, and then it was like, and even me, like I'm here on the desk too. But I was thinking about that a lot when I was reading through James's poems, and the way that they're kind of taking these things that we often take for granted and kind of revivifying them with the strange.
Well, how funny you should say that. The next poem has a desk and body parts on a desk. Did you plan this, Jason? Did you plan it?
Does that mean I'm voluntold to read it?
I think you must. You certainly must.
All right, here we go. Spectacles. Arms folded on the desk. They're skeptical, aloof. They have their own way of seeing things that is slightly off. Not magical exactly, but somehow fascinating in the way they bend the world. If not to their will, at least away from the world's will. If the world may be said to have one. True visions achieved through speculative skill.
Nicely read, Jason. And I guess the thing that I love about this is how arms folded on the desk may or may not be human, right?
Oh, I thought it was definitely the glasses. I only read it as the glasses.
Right? They're skeptical, aloof, right? It's just the arms of the glasses.
Because I love the way the glasses, and again, like this sort of, I mean, with the first poem, and I know it's always a little unfair to read people's work against their own work, but that's how poetry careers work, right? I mean, ultimately, like you're reading Frank Bidart's work against Frank Bidart's other work. No, I love the way this kind of gets right into the inner life of the glasses. With the ceiling fan, it wasn't until the very, very end that the ceiling fan kind of had its own internal life and desire.
Yeah.
And in this one, they're kind of, it's right, it's much earlier, right? They're skeptical in the very first line with their like folded arms being like, meh.
Yeah.
I'm seeing something that you're not seeing.
You know, but I love that you said it, because it's also, what's cool about it, it's not necessarily like a first person personification of glasses, right? It's this like third observational imagining what the, you know what I mean? Like that move to imagine the perspective really is delightful. And it just reminds me of like a shit ton of sociology about the social life of things, right? Like how things move through cultures, how things are created, used, possessed and dispossessed. And it's just lovely to see it unfolding here. And again, in another tightly crafted 2-stanza poem, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I really like the last line. True visions achieved through speculative skill. That's like, it's literally what glasses do, but it's also like human perception. It's and we build this whole world around us, and we're not even sure if it's real.
Yeah.
But it's true to us.
True. This is what Jason and I fight about all the time.
I was just going to say,
Right.
Addison, starting a fight. Morning, Addison. Morning.
I didn't
You
know
do
what
not
I
know
was
where
getting
you
into.
just trod.
But Addison, I just want to be clear that you're entering on my side of the fight.
I'm more than arm's reach
so.
away from Kathy right now.
Yeah.
I don't think so. He was exactly saying what I said, that what we're seeing is not even real.
Oh, what is this fight?
Well, he might have been agreeing with you, but I thought that if I claimed him early on, he would believe that he was on my side.
No.
I am that impressionable, but
I can't even remember the number, but there's something like 60% of what we think is our reality is not even our reality. That's how much of our own perceptions and preconceived ideas we bring into everything, every move we make. And he flipped out at the number and said,
I did. I was like, that is unquantifiable. I was like, the 60% number is not true.
We'll have to.
you higher or lower?
Way
Wait, it's
lower.
unquantifiable. I don't know.
Way
Maybe it's 30 for you. Maybe it's 70 for me. Maybe there's no objectometer that you can plug into and find out what your number is.
Darling,
There's-
darling, there are people who study this. Are we going to fight again?
Yes.
I think we're going.
All right, let's
Here we
stop.
go.
Let's stop. No, let's talk about
Let's
the
stop. We'll come back to
poem.
James Pollock. This is
So
not
he's
fair.
done the same.
I love that we've just invented the objectometer. Come on, this is like fucking brilliant, right? So it's that last stanza that really kind of points at the objectometer, right? Right. If not to their will, at least away from the world's will, if the world may be said to have one. Right? True visions achieved through speculative skill. So brilliant the way that sort of tumbles into its argument.
That's really beautiful.
Objectometer. Better than the assometer.
I was just
Oh,
going to
God.
say that.
We don't need to bring that back. Those
not
those
bring
memories
that.
can stay in the past.
They are. We have evolved.
Although, listen, I do have to say this. It's so wrong for me to say this, but I have to say, I'm going to say it really quickly. Does anybody watching Letterkenny, the
Only
Canadian?
the first 2 episodes.
Okay.
It was very
Yeah.
funny.
Yes, it's so freaking good. And they played.
What is it? Letterkenny?
It's called Letterkenny. Just smash up, like mail a letter, and Kenny, like the first name, Letterkenny. It's the name of a town in Canada, and there is this brilliant series that has been huge in Canada, and now it's made its way to America, and it's bizarre as F and hysterical, and they played Ball or Dink.
Sorry.
I
Sorry.
couldn't believe it.
No.
Yes.
Samantha, off air. I'll explain Dicker
No,
Ball.
explain it off air.
It's got deep
There
roots.
was a certain component in PBQ team, on the PBQ team, who enjoyed that sport very much.
Oh, yes. I've never
But
lost.
they did not call it Dink.
Dicker Ball.
They did not call it
I've
Dink.
never lost that game.
Oh my God. That game.
All right. I think it's great if we don't explain it.
Yeah, let's just Sam off air.
My imagination is running wild.
Yeah,
I'll
that
explain
just
it. I'll explain it when Joe shuts the recorder off, and he better
Right.
not.
And
we
tease
should
us.
have a contest where the slushies should tell us what they think that game is, and whoever comes up with the best version that we actually want to play.
Come on, they're all
will
on
win.
the internet. They'll look it up.
Is it? But I don't think it's a real thing.
Babe,
I
I
think that was
never
like-
thought it was a real thing until I saw it in Letterkenny. They play it in Canada.
Oh, they played it in
Yeah, they
Canada.
played it on the
Your
show.
60% of what we know, we don't know. I'm sorry, Jason. This goes back to Schaefer Hall, circa I don't know what. And Schaefer Hall's version of the universe includes Dicker Ball. I'm just saying.
I thought it came from Dan Nestor. Did that come
I
from
thought
Schaefer?
it was Dan Nestor too.
It might have been Dan, but it was Dan and Schaefer who turned it into a regular pastime.
All right, and back to spectacles.
Arms folded on the desk. They're skeptical, aloof. They have their own way of seeing things that is slightly off, not magical exactly, but somehow fascinating in the way they bend the world. If not to their will, at least away from the world's will, if the world may said to have one. True visions achieved through speculative skill.
I just want to say I really like kind of the consonants that's happening here, and like the word spectacles, skeptical, speculative for me, like those first four letters of those words, like how if you're not paying attention, you can almost interchange them a little bit, but the meanings are different. They have different etymologies and meanings, but they all just kind of work together really nicely in this poem.
I love that, right? If you're not paying attention, you'd miss them. I think that's true. It really speaks to the tongue and grooveness of this thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And to our subjective realities.
True. I said tongue and groove, and we were talking Dick Rabal. I'm just saying.
It's reality. It's not subjective. But yes.
look at how truths differ. Marion thinks it was Schaefer Hall. Jason and I think it was Dan Nestor. Right?
True.
If either one of us wrote a book about the history of PBQ, we could have a different reality.
It's true.
In Marion's reality,
Tobias Wolff. What is it? Memory has its own story to tell.
That's it.
And spectacles do too.
I like the Louise Bourgeois quote. Memory is architecture. I think that's great.
That's good too.
Nice. I love that. She's so smart.
Guys, are we already ready to vote again?
I'm telling you, James Pollock, what have you done to us? Yes.
Okay, let's do it. Flipping thumbs, hashtag flipping thumbs here. 1, 2, 3, vote.
Hang on.
We're waiting. And it's in.
Yay.
Okay.
Yay. Woo, woo, woo.
Ba-boom. Ba-boom. 2 for 2, James Pollock. And
James Pollock in my house.
and what's number 3? What's up next?
Shower.
All right.
I can read. I can read unless someone else wants to.
Yep.
No, Sam, do it to it.
Okay. Shower. Consider the magic weather of the shower. It makes a cool or warm and private rainfall in your home when and how you want it, with power. Moreover, to keep more or less all, else dry. Such sorcery comes to one who knows what this lovely spirit of the spring desires one to do. First, take off your clothes, then step inside her cone of rain and sing.
Nice.
I sort of missed the way in which the inner life kind of came out. Maybe it's too much to ask every single time, but I sort of missed, kind of knowing the shower's secret desire.
First, take off your clothes and step inside her cone of rain.
But it's not that she's telling you to do this. It's not that, the shower is like sort of excited about getting all over you. It's just sort of the thing you do when you step in. And the shower is not the water.
Right. Well, and it isn't in the poem either. It's what the spring desires one to do. It's not about the water. It is the shower. Right? It just desires you to take the action. It's not raising the house. It's not. Yeah, it's more passive, right? This object is more passive than the spectacles or the...
Yeah. No, it's unfair to want everything to be as perfect as that ceiling fan dreaming about lifting the house.
But here we go. We've had this conversation on the show before, and it happens in real life. Like, we have 3 poems by the same person, and they are all, there's no way this is a formula. I don't want to say they're the same formula, but they follow a pattern. They follow, they work in the same manner. And if we had read this one first, that there's a different kind of beauty and art here for me.
Yeah. Although I will say, with power is kind of the first sort of form fail for me. And how you want it with power just feels like a little tacked on to hit the rhyme. And I hadn't felt that anywhere else.
I'm with you, Jason. It lands hard, right? It's but then again, if I read past that, I do love the tumble of the rest of it. So it makes a cooler, warm, and private rainfall in your home when and how you want it, with power, moreover, to keep more or less all else dry. Like there's I don't know, like this sort of homespun wisdom, sort of in assessment of the shower. But technically, the way it sits in line 3, it does feel like a bit of a clunk. And clunk might be too strong, right? But it calls attention to it, the form, in a way the other ones didn't.
Right. That is, it's not quite as seamlessly structured. I mean, one of the things that happens in form is that it makes the language feel so inevitable, and you just have this sense that there's no other way it could be. And here you don't have that sense with that little moment with power.
But you know what I think he does really well in this one that was probably in the others, but I'm really noticing it here. All the internal, the sounds that flow so nicely, such sorcery, spirit of spring, off close, right? All these cone, all the sounds that get clustered. Maybe make up for the craft we lose with power.
Yeah.
Or there was an or part too, more or less sorcery.
Yeah, I know sorcery didn't work for me as well, because again, it sort of one, I am completely obsessed with tap water. I'm really serious. I'm really obsessed with tap water.
Watch out.
That's the most New York thing I've ever heard.
Because it's like we are gods. I mean, you just turn on a faucet and you have water that runs out at the temperature you want it. Like, I mean, tap water is this incredible invention that, and you can't do it alone. Like, tap water is this fantastic. I mean, if you want to talk about all of the ways in which humans work together to get something right and wonderful, tap water is for me the metonym. I'm completely obsessed with tap water, and places like Flint where it fails or where it falls apart. You end up having to go back to the well. I mean, you sort of slip back to some biblical monster time. But no, but so sorcery just felt a little I sort of wanted more than that, because it's already magical to me. I wanted that kind of inner.
It's
it didn't feel like it was bringing that much to me that I don't already think about showers.
And there you go, speaking from your perception.
Which is 60% real.
60% hot. So it's sort of like a lukewarm reality.
I think my reality is 100% hot.
Yeah, it is. So I want to come back to that though, right? So consider the magic weather of the showers, the first line. So the first line of the second stanza, such sorcery. So it points back, right? Tightly, beautifully. It's this the basket weave of this poem. As Kathy pointed out, it's both not only the end rhymes, but the sort of internal play. And as Sam pointed out earlier in the other poems, the consonants, the assonants, it's really carefully crafted. But in this one, I can see the craft, right? Now, I say that also kind of loving the charm of paying attention to the shower as creating weather, at our fingertips. So that does kind of get at the godness that Jason's talking about, right? But by calling it magic twice, it's kind of telling me this specialness, so I think I come away from this loving the idea of it, craving a little bit more edginess, but also loving, now that I take a shower in a stall with a rain shower, remembering how ridiculously privileged that is.
Right,
when you're doing it in the desert.
Right.
I know.
Right.
It's bonkers. Straight. So when you're talking to, go ahead, Sam. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, so yesterday I was in a place called Jazaret Al Hamra, which in Arabic means the Red Island. And I was in a village that, has been occupied since the 1400s. And I was walking through kind of the old houses, the remains of them. And there were just these wells. And it was just looking down into like that darkness and only be able to see like maybe these glints of plastic bottles and other things that have been thrown down there, and knowing now that like these are rubbish kind of receptacles and they used to be like life-giving was kind of wild to think of like this staying power of like some human inventions and like others that we've bypassed, and something like creating these irrigation systems and the taps and the showers. I mean, it's just like what Jason was saying. Like I'm like already so wowed by it. Mm-hmm. That I want a little bit more, I think.
Well, you know what I think this does too, though, just to defend it for a second. The interactivity is just different with this one, for sure. Mm-hmm. The sorcery comes to one who knows. You get to be magic because you know how to turn on the magic shower, and you know what to do, right? Take off your clothes and sing. Such sorcery comes to you because you have privilege to use this magic. Kind of like that too.
It's true.
It's interesting too for me. Something I do like about it is this idea of stepping inside her cone of rain and singing, because I think a modern type of sorcery related to the shower is just like the fact that it is a moment to be disconnected. And I know that doesn't play really into this poem, but I'm interested in like the evolving nature of sorcery itself. Like certain kind of magic is not like really considered, we're not wowed by it in the same way anymore. But I think shower still offers us this like place for solitude. Yeah. And so I think that's not it too in that last bit, which is nice.
Mm-hmm. Private rainfall, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think that's a Stevie Nicks song.
I hope.
And you do sing like Stevie Nicks if you want to when you're in the shower by yourself. You sound just like her. At least I do. I don't know about you all.
Well, 60% sound like her, and then 40% is the fantasy and things Stevie Nicks.
Slushies, you need to know I can't sing. I can't. I couldn't hold a note in a bathtub. And I have a really big shower. You guys all know. Many of you here know that you could fit 3 people in my tub.
Oh, you have the most amazing shower.
And I have 2 shower heads.
Oh my God, it's fantastic.
And one of them is actually called a rainfall thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I do covet the, I dated someone a long time ago who had multiple shower heads in the shower.
That's nice.
It's wonderful. Really it's like being in a car wash. It just comes at you from everywhere.
It's super nice.
Yeah.
We can make a lot of jokes there, but we won't.
Yeah, that was like that.
Yeah. I'm taking notes here.
Should we vote? Do we want to keep talking about this, or are we like?
I think
I'm ready to vote.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, vote. Okay, this didn't make it. So
Okay.
2 out of 3 is not bad.
Great. Well, thank you, James Pollock. That's an amazing cluster of poems that you shared. I'm so pleased that they're coming into PBQ, coming at us from everywhere.
Yeah. Stop it, Marion. Now, does anybody, do you guys want to talk about what you're reading or thinking about or anything and be like esoteric? Or can I tell you about the fact that I named a blend of coffee yesterday?
Oh, tell us about naming a blend of coffee.
And then can I tell you about a shower story? A shower related story?
Sure. Yours is more appropriate. Okay. Mine's
but I want to hear the story about the coffee then.
All right. Mine's very quick, very quick. So it's National Day here, and I was lucky enough to go to an Emirati festival called, oh my God, what's it called? It was called like Legacy of Our Ancestors. And so imagine in a stadium, it's a little bit like somewhere between the Super Bowl and a down-home 4th of July show. Right. So you've got like a cast of characters, adults and children, doing these like tableaus. And it's really like this beautiful propaganda and spirit of the nation kind of stuff. And after about like 15 minutes of this story of Arab poetry is the spirit of a young girl, and P.S. slushies. In the U.S., it might be hard to be a poet, but poetry is beloved in this region. Like we don't have to make an argument for its legitimacy here. A. B, they had a boat on the stage, and to signify the storm, they had the storm coming out of the prow, right? Like, or the mast. That's what it was. They had like a boat set up with a mast and where the, I guess where the sail would have been, they had it rigged with showers. So the rain was coming down in force, but inside the boat. It was like the creepiest, most wonderfully apt, special magic shower I've ever seen to indicate a storm. So I give you that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very
so now, coffee?
Well, Collingswood Cash Day happened, which I won't take up your time in explaining what that is. But so this
Cash
day,
Day?
Collingswood Cash, you tie up your money, you turn your money into Collingswood money.
Okay.
Yeah, and every 50 gets you 20, so you're making 40% on the dollar. It's kind of psycho. So $100, you give them $100 of real, actual government money, and they give you back 140 of Collingswood dollars. Right. So you do make a boatload, and if you are willing to spend your money in Collingswood, it's very smart. And anyway, this newer of the coffee shops in town donated coffee, and it was delicious. And so the following weekend, I popped in there after the town parade. Yes, I do live in that kind of town. And I said, hey, is this bag of your blend what you were giving at Cash Day? And they said, no, we made a special blend. And I was like, oh. And I thought, why would you do that? Right? Wouldn't you sell the one you want people to run in and buy like I am trying to right now? So then I thought I would give them another shot, and I went back in yesterday morning, and I thought of you so hard, Marion, because it reminded me of the kind of situation that you and I would walk into. Like I walked in and the guy was immediately, we can do this, and we have pour over, and we have this sort of blend, and we have these immersed in blah, blah, blah. And how would you like that French press? I was like, oh my God, like it was so overwhelming. But I went for the one that was coffee beans immersed in Maker's Mark because it was like, 8:00 on a Monday, and it was being offered to me. So I was like, I think I have no choice but to have the Maker's Mark coffee to start off my week. And so I sat down, and for some reason he was like, here, have this muffin on the house. And I was like, oh, where is Marion? And then I asked them again about the other coffee, and the woman remembered how she had made it. She said, I could actually make that up for you. And I said, great, I just live around the corner. And she goes, oh, you're our neighbor? I said, yes, I'm your neighbor. And then she roasted it while I graded papers, and then when she went to label it, she said, I think we should sell this. Maybe we should sell this. And I said, I think you definitely should sell it. I think a lot of people were remarking of how delicious it was. And she goes, oh my gosh, what should we call it? And the man said, you're our neighbor. And I went, oh, won't you be my neighbor? And they were like, what? And then they were like, wait a minute. That's a little too long. How about be my neighbor? And I went, you guys, I'm from Pittsburgh. And they were like, done. And so now there is a blend of coffee being sold at Cup of Bliss in Collingswood, New Jersey, called Be My Neighbor.
Very cool.
Well done. Cup of Bliss is such a great name.
Yeah.
And right? What a great name for a coffee shop. And Be My Neighbor. Kathleen, it's so perfect because are you still going to get your tattoo?
Yes.
Wait, what, the tattoo?
I'm getting a tattoo, which is my father's handwriting, and the number's 143, which is how Mr. Rogers communicated his love for his children when he didn't want to embarrass them. He would go 143. Bye, Scotty. 143. So it's not to embarrass him. And he somehow kept his weight at exactly that, no matter what was happening in his life. He was even freaked out by the fact that he stayed at 143, which seems light. Like, he is not a tiny man, but I don't know. 143 was what his weight was.
But Kavian, explain what the 143 is.
Oh, oops! I didn't say that part. It means I love you. That's how he would tell his kids, "I love you." 143.
It's American.
But wait, how do you get to 1/4? Like,
I is
It's the
1,
number of
love
letters.
is 4, and 3 is you.
Yeah, it's American.
it's the number of letters. It's the number of letters in each word.
What, Joe?
Yep.
It's American Sign Language.
It's American Sign Language for "I love you."
Nice.
So I'm gonna get my dad is writing. I'm gonna have the words 143, so that there's more of his handwriting than the numbers. You know what I mean? So anyway,
Where are you getting it?
So yeah.
But where on your body are you putting it?
My left arm, kind of the underneath-ish, like across my bicep.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So I'll never have a sleeve, but I am doing all the tattoos on one side. I don't know why. It's just the way it's working out. But yeah, and I was Disco Mr. Rogers this year for Halloween. So it's certainly the year of Mr. Rogers for me, not because of these films, but just because it is.
But because you're from Pittsburgh.
I'm from Pittsburgh. Yeah.
143. 143. 143.
Yup. So that's my story.
Yep.
I didn't say
All right,
much. Just
kids.
coffee.
Hey, 143, go drink your coffee.
Yeah,
And
1/3. I need to hop in my magic cone of shower sorcery.
Go get your magic phone on. Go get your magic phone on. It comes at you from everywhere, Jason.
You better
All right.
sing. You better
Love you guys.
sing.
Bye.
Hey, James Pollock. Thank you, James Pollock. These are amazing poems. They made
Yes,
us
thank
all
you.
better at what we do. All right, love you guys.
Love you.
Bye.
Yes.
To the moon, Zang Zoom, to the moon. Perfect.
It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood, a beautiful day for a neighbor. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? It's a neighborly day in this beauty wood.